Hello everyone. I, your teacher Poonam Sharma, once again welcome you all on the platform of Sarthi IS. My dear viewers, aspirants, and dear students, as you all know, today we will discuss about the second chapter of GC Leong, that is the Earth's crust. In this chapter, we will discuss about the sources of Earth's interior, that what are the different evidences, what are the different sources which proves that Earth's interior looks like this, and along with that, we will explore into the different layers of the earth. That is how the interior of the earth is divided into different layers. And we'll try to explore about the discontinuities of the earth's interior in between the different layers of the earth. Dear students, stay tuned till the end of the video to get maximum to maximum knowledge about the content and to know about the interior and the sources and along with that the layers of the earth. Stay tuned till the end of the video. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe the video also. Let us start with the today's content, that what is Earth's interior about, how the Earth interior looks like, and what are the different sources. हमने सोचा होगा, हमने इमेजिन किया होगा अपनी अर्थ को कि वो कैसी दिखती है. वी ऑल हैड इमेजिन, हमने अर्थ के बारे में पढ़ा फर्स्ट चैप्टर में कि हमारी जो धरती है एक स्फेयर के फॉर्म में लगती है, और हमारी इमेजिनेशन अब स्फेयर के बाद इस तरह से रुकती है कि ये जो हमारा बॉल है, ये जो हमारी अर्थ है, जिसे हमने स्फेयर यानी कि जियोइड शेप में हमने इसको डिस्क्राइब किया है, दैट इट इज हैविंग अ बल्ज एट द सेंटर एंड इज फ्लैटेंड एट द पोल्स, जो हमने फर्स्ट चैप्टर की वीडियोस में अच्छे से एक्सप्लेन किया. अब हम इस चैप्टर में बात कर रहे हैं कि अर्थ की फॉर्मेशन के बाद अर्थ का जो इंटीरियर है वो कैसे दिखता है. हमारा जो अर्थ है उसके इंटीरियर में क्या है, क्या वो एक हॉलो बॉल है, क्या वो एक खाली बॉल है खाली, या फिर वो एक क्रिकेट बॉल है जिसके बाहर एक थिक कवर है. तो उसकी इमेजिनेशन जो है हमारी अर्थ के बारे में वहां तक ही सीमित नहीं रह जाती, उसके बाद भी हम अपनी इमेजिनेशन को कैरी फॉरवर्ड करते हैं कि हमारी अर्थ कैसे दिखती है. अब हमने देखा कि अर्थ स्फीयर है और इसका जो इंटीरियर है वो डिफरेंट लेयर्स में डिवाइडेड है. अब ये जो इंटीरियर डिवाइडेड है इसकी जानकारी हमें मिलती है बहुत से सोर्सेस के थ्रू. इन ऑर्डर टू अंडरस्टैंड द ज्योग्राफी ऑफ द एक्सटर्नल लैंडफॉर्म्स ऑफ द अर्थ, इट इज वेरी एसेंशियल, ये बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट है, एसेंशियल है कि हमें अर्थ के इंटीरियर के बारे में भी नॉलेज होनी चाहिए कि हमारे अर्थ के इंटीरियर में क्या है. It is not possible to know exactly how the earth was formed about 4,500 million years ago. But from the evidences, from the sources, from the source of information like volcanic eruptions, like earthquakes, जिन्हें हमने direct sources और indirect sources में divide किया है, इन सब से हमें जानकारी मिलती है कि हमारी जो अर्थ का इंटीरियर है वो डिफरेंट लेयर्स में डिवाइडेड है. इसमें डिफरेंट प्रकार के एलिमेंट्स हैं, इसमें हेवियर मेटल्स भी हैं, लाइटर मेटल्स भी हैं जो फ्लोट करते हैं, ये कहीं पर मोल्टन फॉर्म में है, इसमें डिसकॉन्टिन्यूटीज भी हैं, और इसमें डिफरेंट काइंड की जो वेव्स हैं वो मूव करती हैं. ये इंफॉर्मेशन हमें डायरेक्ट सोर्सेज और इनडायरेक्ट सोर्सेज के थ्रू मिलती है. अब हमने डायरेक्ट और इनडायरेक्ट सोर्सेज का जिक्र एनसीईआरटीज की बुक में भी किया है. अब ये कंटेंट मैंने इस तरह से लिया ताकि जो बच्चे जिन्होंने सोर्सेज को कभी डिस्कस नहीं किया है या उन्हें सोर्सेज के बारे में मालूम नहीं है, तो हल्का सा ये कंटेंट जो है वो आपकी एनसीईआरटीज की बुक से लिया गया है. उसके बाद का जो कंटेंट है वो आपकी जीसी लियोंग की बुक से लिया गया है. अगर हम दोनों को क्लब करें, मैंने आपको जो हमारा फर्स्ट ओरिएंटेशन सेशन था उसमें भी मैंने आपको डिस्क्राइब किया था कि एनसीईआरटीज को जीसी लियोंग्स को हम सेपरेट नहीं कर सकते. एनसीईआरटी जीसी लियोंग का होल कंटेंट जस्ट हमें यूपीएससी के लिए हेल्पफुल रहता है. इसीलिए हम एक रिधम में चलें, इसीलिए मैंने सोर्सेस को भी इन वीडियोस के जरिए आपको पहुंचाने तक की कोशिश की है. तो अब हम देखेंगे कि डिफरेंट जो डायरेक्ट सोर्सेज हैं और जो हमारे इनडायरेक्ट सोर्सेज हैं वो हमें किस तरह से जानकारी देते हैं हमारी अर्थ के इंटीरियर के बारे में. There are mainly two types of sources that I said. There are two mainly types of sources that are providing us information about the interior of the earth. यानी कि अर्थ के इंटीरियर की जानकारी हमें two kinds of sources से मिलती है. One is the direct source and then other are the indirect sources. We have divided direct sources into various parts and indirect also again into two parts. First is the rocks from the mining area. For example, this is a mountain and we are taking a part of rock from here undergoing mining. From this mining activity, we can get knowledge about the rocks and what is the rock composition there. So it's also a good direct source that when we will mine that area, we will get information about the rocks present in that area, and from the rocks we will get the mineral composition present in the rock. So direct sources, these are the direct sources that we are doing mining and when we are getting information about that. So the second is volcanic eruptions. Volcano, you all know what is a volcano. That magma comes out from the interior of the earth, it converts into lava. It doesn't convert, but it is known as lava on the upper surface of the earth, and beneath the earth surface it is called as the magma. When this magma reaches the surface, it is called as lava, and this lava gives us information that it is very hot kind of. So it gives us information that interior of the earth is somewhere very hot, that the lava present is hot. So these are a kind of direct sources. I am just framing example from that. Ki volcanic eruptions and rocks from the mining area, they are the two direct sources which gives us information about the interior of the earth, how the interior of the earth is looking like, and what kind of minerals, metals are present inside the earth, and what is the temperature also at the interior of the earth. So this is sources of information. Which sources we discuss? We discuss about the interior of the earth having direct sources, that is the rocks from the mining area and the volcanic eruptions. They are the two important sources which are being mentioned in your NCERT book. Now is the indirect sources. Firstly, we discussed about the directly sources, that was mining and the volcanic eruptions. Now let us talk about the indirectly sources. What is the interior of the earth and how it looks like? By examining the rate at which the temperature and the pressure changes from the surface to the interior, we are getting knowledge about the interior of the earth. As we all know, as we go deeper down the earth's surface, temperature increases. As we go deeper down, temperature increases, and this gives us knowledge about what is the interior of the earth, how it looks like, and what is the temperature present there. So by examining the rate at which the temperature and the pressure changes from the surface to the interior, it gives us knowledge about the interior of the earth also. Second is the seismic waves. We all know when the earthquake occurs, there are set of waves that generates, that are known as primary waves, secondary waves, surface waves, body waves we can also say, and the surface waves we can also say. So in later chapter, when we will discuss about the earthquakes, in that chapter we will have a brief discussion about the these three different kinds of waves present. So what kinds of waves are being generated? So seismic waves, they have a very different nature. Some waves passes through solids, some waves passes through liquids, some from both solid and liquid, and some from only solids and not liquids. So they have a very different characteristics. So the study of these seismic waves, they all provide a complex picture of the layered interior. Those students who are uh, joining up with the NCRT course that we are going on in our Sarthi platform. So those students they all already know that what are the different kinds of waves like solid, liquids, and solid platform, how the waves moves from the liquid platform, how the plates moves, and which is a shadow zone, because we had already touched the NCRT portion there. And those who know, that is very good for them. कि seismic waves जो हैं, we are dividing them into various kinds of zones, and those waves, they have a quality of passing through different kinds of materials, mediums. Thus seismic waves are divided into this way, and they gives us information about the complex picture of the interior of the earth. Third indirect source is the magnetic fields and the gravitation. You all know gravitation is not same at the different latitudes. It is different at the different latitudes. It is greater near the poles and is lesser at the equator, and thus there is a variation in the different latitudes on the surface as well as on the poles also. So this is because of the distance from the center at the equator. What is the distance there? And being greater than at the poles, the gravitational force is not same everywhere. It is greater near the poles and lesser at the equator. This is also a very great information to get knowledge about how the interior of the earth looks like. So these are different sources, that direct sources and the indirect sources, that gives us knowledge, that gives us information about the interior of the earth. Now, because of the huge size and the changing nature of its interior composition, It is not possible to understand the interior of the earth by direct observations. It is an almost impossible for the humans to reach till the center of the earth. But so these sources, indirect and the direct one, they are the main source. They are the main source to get knowledge about the interior of the earth. And it is not possible to reach at the bottom of the earth because the earth's radius is 6,370 kilometers. Please note this. This is 6,370 kilometers. This is the earth's radius. Through mining and drilling operations, we have been able to observe the Earth's interior directly, only up to depth of few kilometers. So, mining and drilling, they had given us information about the sources, but up to a depth of few kilometers only. We are not reached up to the bottom. We had directly only up to a depth of few kilometers. We are getting knowledge about the interior of the Earth. The rapid increase in temperature below the Earth's surface is mainly responsible for setting a limit to direct observations inside the Earth. But still, through some direct and the indirect sources, the scientists have a fair idea about the Earth's interior, how it looks like. Means scientists, that those who are working on it with the help of direct and the indirect sources that we are getting, we get a fair idea, fair idea about the interior of the Earth. Now is scientists world over, they are working on two major projects like deep ocean drilling project and the integrated ocean drilling project. So these two projects, they gives us knowledge about the information about the interior of the earth, and this large volume of information through the analysis of materials collected at different depths, we are getting knowledge about the interior of the earth. So the two different projects are deep ocean drilling project and the integrated ocean drilling project. They gives us knowledge about the interior of the earth. So now if we talk about the interior of the earth, how it looks like, we had divided the interior of the earth into different layers like crust, mantle and the core. These are the three different layers of the earth crust. As you all know, on the earth crust we have somewhere oceanic bodies and somewhere we have continental bodies. We have a division of that. And but this oceanic crust and the continental crust, they had a very thickness. In the oceanic crust has a thickness of about 5 kilometers, and if we talk about the continental crust thickness, it is around 30 kilometers. So the thickness varies over the oceans and also varies over the continents. It is 5 kilometers over the oceans and 30 kilometers over the continental crust. So what we see, we all know that these mountains are being formed, Himalayas, we are taking example of Himalayas only, that with the convergence of two continental plates, Himalayas are formed. So thickness varies over the mountainous part also, over the plain part also. So thickness is very high over the mountainous region because you all know they are formed by the convergence of two different continental plates were collided, and thus these mountains were formed. And when we go deeper down the oceanic bodies, we can reach to the mantle after covering a distance of 5 kilometers. And if we go into the mantle after walking over the continental crustal part, then we have to cover a 30-kilometer distance to reach to the mantle portion. So this is about the interior. We are dividing the interior into the different layers, that is the crust and the mantle and the core, and varying with the depth, we are having different kinds of layers found over there. So let us see, at the 5 kilometers depth, we are having continental oceanic crust, and up to the 100 kilometers, we have up to uppermost mantle. Up to 200 kilometers, we are having partially molten asthenosphere. Up to this portion 400, we are having solid asthenosphere also. 670 kilometers we are having lower mantle, and core at the depth of 6370 kilometers up to core, and 3150 kilometers outer molten core. And we are dividing these different layers again into different layers, like crust is divided into outer crust and the inner crust, mantle is divided into outer mantle and the inner mantle, core is divided into outer core and the inner core. So in this way, we are dividing them into different layers. As you all know, when our earth was formed, different kinds of elements were being generated from there, and the heavier metals during its formation, heavier metal settles at the bottom line, and the lighter particles, lighter elements, they float. And in this way, iron like particles which are heavier, they were settled down at the bottom of the interior, and because of higher temperature available there, they are still found in the molten form. So this was all about the interior, what are the different layers in the interior of the earth. Now let us discuss about these layers one by one. Interior of the earth. The three fundamental parts of the earth crust are the core, mantle, and the crust. I described it. Only 15% of the earth's volume is made up of the core, and 84% is made up of the mantle, and the crust represents the final 1% of the total. Let's have a look over this one once again. We are dividing the earth structure into core, into mantle, and the crust, that is from bottom to top, that is core, mantle, and the crust. 15% of Earth's volume, whole Earth's volume, 15% is made up of core. 84% whole volume is made up of mantle. And the crust represents the final 1% of the total. Final 1% of the total crust is made up of, 84% is made up of mantle, and 15% of Earth volume is made up of core. So it is divided into crust, mantle, and the core. This is the earth interior, as we can say, divided into different layer. We can see in the interior the elements are found in the molten form. So this is the interior of the earth. So let us discuss about the earth crust first. Earth crust is the outermost layers, that is the solid part of the earth. It is the outermost layer part of the earth. And outer layer is the earth's crust, the lithosphere, which comprises two distinct parts. Two distinct parts. The earth is made up of several concentric layers, I told you. The outer layer is the earth's crust, the lithosphere, that is called as the lithosphere, which comprises two distinct parts. The upper part consists of the granitic rocks and forms the continents, and the other parts contains the basaltic rocks, which makes the oceanic crust. I am repeating once again that the granitic rocks, they forms the continents, and the basaltic rocks, they make the oceanic crust. It is the outermost solid part. The crust is name given to its cold, fragile, and rock based outer layer. That is very cold, it is very fragile, and it is a rock based outer layer. And they are divided into, the crust is again dividing into two parts. That is the continental crust and the oceanic crust. We are dividing it into again two types. That is the continental crust and the oceanic crust. One over under the continents and the one under the oceans. Because you all know Earth's surface is covered by the water bodies and the continents too. If this is the water body, this is the continental bodies, and we have oceanic crust under the mountainous part over the continents and under the oceanic bodies also. Thus, this crust is divided into two parts, continental crust and the oceanic crust. Basalt lava flows are produced when magma under the seafloor erupts, forming the oceanic crust. Basaltic lava, that is forming the oceanic crust, as it descends further, intrusive igneous rocks are formed. We all know intrusive igneous rocks are those kinds of rocks which are formed beneath the earth's surface by the volcanic eruptions, when magma moves into the horizontal layers and the different landforms are formed in that portion of the earth's interior. They are called as the intrusive igneous rocks. Numerous varieties of metamorphic, igneous, and sedimentary rocks, they all made up of the continental crust. Crust makes up the 0.5% of the Earth's mass and over 1% of its volume. Oceanic and continental crust, they have various crustal thickness. I have discussed before also. Oceanic crust is 5 kilometer thinner as compared to the continental crust, that is the 30 kilometers thicker. 30 kilometer thicker. So the upper part consists of granitic rocks and forms the continents, and the continental parts contains basaltic rocks forming the ocean floors. And in this way, we can say that they are formed, crustal part be formed on the continental crust also and over the oceanic crust also. Now have a look over the various components of the earth crust. That is silica and aluminium. Silicon and aluminium, togetherly known as, referred as Sial. Silicon and aluminium, They are togetherly called as the Sial. The crust component have an average density of 3 gram per cubic centimeter, and this density varies as we go deeper down the Earth's surface, that is deep into the interior. The density of these components varies. At it is 3 gram per cubic centimeter over the top, and it varies as we go down inside. The discontinuity between the hydrosphere and crust is termed as the Conrad discontinuity. We will have a look on the different kinds of discontinuities that we observe in the interior of the earth. So, Conrad discontinuity, it is a kind of discontinuity that is formed between the upper and the lower crust. Upper and the lower crust, we found a discontinuity where where discontinuities are a regions where the characteristics of one layer finishes over and the another layer starts over, and thus in this way discontinuities are formed on the basis of the geologist name. They are being mentioned. That's Conorod discontinuity between the upper mantle and the lower Conorod discontinuity between the upper and the lower crust. Next is the Mohorovičić discontinuity. This kind of discontinuity is formed between the lower crust and the upper mantle. That is the lower crust portion and the upper mantle. That is the Mohorovičić discontinuity. Repeated discontinuity, we find this kind of discontinuity between the upper and the lower mantle. Gutenberg discontinuity, we find this kind of discontinuity between the lower mantle and the outer core. Lehman discontinuity between the outer and the inner core. So these are the different kinds of discontinuities which are being found as we go deeper down the Earth's surface, deep in the interior of the Earth. Different kinds of discontinuities are formed between the different kinds of Earth's layer. So first is Conorod discontinuity, second is Mohorovičić discontinuity, third is the Repetit discontinuity, Gutenberg discontinuity, and the Lehman discontinuity. These are the different kinds of discontinuities found between the different kinds of layers. So this was all about today's topic, that is about the sources of information about the Earth's interior, and along with that the interior of the Earth we had discussed about the different layers, and among the different layers we had only touched crustal part, that is the crustal layer. Stay tuned with Sathi IS to get knowledge about the other two layers of the Earth's interior, that is the mantle and the core. Stay tuned with Sathi IS and wait for the next video. Thank you so much.